Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. Now, that's my thoughts on Baldur's Gate 3. We have an update in Street Fighter 6. It's not a good one. So last night, after arduously playing with Dalsim for a month, remember, I didn't play Street Fighter 6 for most of October.
I mean, you didn't play a whole lot during the month of October, given the fact that you were too busy playing Mario, being sick, and having internet issues. But honestly, if I never saw Street Fighter 6 footage from DSP or anybody else for that matter for the rest of my life, I'd be so much better off. I cannot stand watching those Street Fighter 6 streams. Not only are they boring as all hell, but I also just straight up do not enjoy Street Fighter 6. I was honestly kind of miffed when he decided that he was gonna bring it back and start playing as Dalsim.
I brought it back around mid-November, and I started playing with Dalsim, okay? I played, I think, like 8 hours of casual play with Dalsim. Then we took him to ranked, and I jumped through ranked at a turbo pace, okay? I got to master level last night after one set. I played a Master Blanca, whooped his butt, and got right to master.
See guys, DSP really is one of the top gamers in the country. You guys are always doubting him and telling him that he's bad at games, when obviously you were wrong, or there's no way he would have got to master rank in Street Fighter 6 with Dalsim, dude.
And sadly, here's what happened, and this is really sad, and I mean that. Like, I'm not angry, I'm actually upset and sad about this situation. The moment I started playing people in Master, the game changed. Every connection that I had last night was laggy, without exception. Every single match had moments where you're in the middle of gameplay and the game went boo and started running slow and had frame drops and had big issues with input drops and execution because the game's connection was bad.
Obviously, I didn't mean anything that I just said. DSP has always been horrible at video games and will continue to be horrible at video games. And even though he really enjoys Street Fighter, and specifically Street Fighter 6, he's still not good at that either. And my point is only proven more every single time that he talks about playing in Master Rank. Because instead of taking responsibility for any of his shortcomings as far as his gameplay is concerned, he insists on blaming the game every single time. It's because of the lag, it's because of dropped inputs, it's because they're on PC, it's because the connections are just bad. And isn't it so weird that that only started to happen directly after he hit Master? It totally has nothing to do with the fact that he just crushed that rank threshold and all of a sudden the competition was actually more stiff. No, of course it was the lag, dude. Capcom knew that he hit Master rank and they were trying to mess him up, obviously. They wanted to get him demoted even though that's not possible. Because once you hit Master ranking, you can never be demoted again.
This happened every single match for 2.5 hours. Now the problem with that is that when you're playing with Dalsim, he is a character that relies solely on keeping enemies away at a certain range where he can control the match. If the game lags and you can't keep that pattern running, then you are screwed.
Wait, did he just say keep that pattern running? Was that a self-admission that DSP is pattern playing? But I thought that was like against the rules or illegal or something as far as DSP was letting us know. I thought only Scrubs pattern played. What's this shit? Were all of those people that DSP was talking shit about just playing their characters optimally the way that they were intended to be played the whole time? Whoa, that's kind of crazy. Who would have thunk?
Because the moment someone gets in on you and starts rushing you down or getting you into a pattern where they can mix you up, you have to guess to get out. The game is so laggy at this master level. I could not react to what they were doing. A Cammy walking up and trying to throw me, and every time they throw, I go to throw break. Doesn't work, comes out late. Every time, I can't throw break. The only time I can throw break is predicting what she's gonna do and mashing the buttons like a madman. Then sometimes I would actually break the throw early, right?
But isn't that normal in fighting games? I'm not a former pro fighting game player or anything, but I'm pretty sure that when I hear other pro fighting game players talk about playing the game, that they do mention having to predict other people's moves and be ready for them and do their counters on time. Why does DSP insist that he should be able to always 100% of the time be able to just react and counter the way that he intends to? Especially at his age of 41, DSP, your reflexes are not nearly as good as you think they are, I promise you that. So I don't know why you insist on relying solely on reaction instead of actually learning the matchup and understanding what moves they're doing and picking up on the moves that they're doing and then being able to predict them. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would say that that's a pretty sound strategy that you should be looking into if possible.
Same thing with drive impacts. They were doing their drive impacts, and every time that I saw it come out, my drive impact, no, I get hit, mine didn't come out. Huh? Before I hit master, it was working. Watch all my gameplay crawling through casual and then diamond. I'm counter drive impacting people constantly. Constantly. But I can't do it in master. I can't throw break in master. Why? What happened? And I guess what people are saying is that basically what has happened with Street Fighter 6 is sad because the way the game works, okay? You can endlessly grind and suck in this game and still become master rank. The way that they made it is that you gain more points than you lose.
And that's why I don't know why DSP thinks it's some sort of big deal that he keeps getting all of these characters to master rank if he already knows this and he's the one that's telling us this. It doesn't matter how many times you lose because as long as you win every once in a while, you're still going to make it to master rank. It really is just grinding instead of actual skill. So this isn't a real achievement as far as I'm concerned. I mean, grinding is always kind of an achievement once you get there, but it's not a skill style achievement. But that's the only reason that DSP has been able to get multiple characters to master rank. But that doesn't stop him from flaunting it all over the place whenever he talks about Street Fighter 6. Oh, I got this character to master rank. Oh, I got this character to master rank. And they're like the worst character in the game or something. Like, yeah, that's great, dude. All you had to do was play the game enough and you get there. Congratulations, I guess? And it may sound like I'm being unfair to DSP because he is technically an above average Street Fighter player, but he's not nearly as good as he's making it out to be. He's not some top level player that should be playing at Evo or anything. Like I said, he's just above average, and anytime that he has to play anybody that actually has any talent, of course he's getting stomped on. But it's never his fault. It's always drop frames, lag, dropped input, something along those lines. He can't be held responsible for any of it.
So you could pick a shitty character like Ken or whatever, you know, an overpowered shitty character, and you could just mash your way through the patterns and get to master. And then when you get there, you're there forever. I mean, you'll lose all your points, losing endlessly, but you're still there forever. So what's happened is all the assholes who suck at this game played it enough now, because now it's been out for what, over 5 months, and they've all reached master. So now, when you get to master, you literally go from better connections to worse, and you have to fight a player pool of laggy idiots who suck at the game, but get away with bad gameplay because their connections suck.
Wait, so you're meaning to tell me that just because the game has been out for 5 months at this point, and there are players who shouldn't be at master rank who made it to master rank just via grinding, somehow the connections are worse for it? That's not adding up to me. I don't understand how having more players in the player pool is going to give you worse connection. I thought that that was one of the reasons that you decided to rebuy the game a second time on PS5, was to increase the playing pool so that you could get better connections. I'm pretty sure that was the reason that you played Mortal Kombat on the PS5 as well. That was the entire reason that you switched over from Xbox to PlayStation and bought an entirely new stick that you didn't need. It was all because the player pool was bigger, and that would mean potentially better connections. But now there's more players in the player pool and we're getting worse connections?
And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I try, you know, I'm selective. I'm only going to pick people with wired connections. It happens anyway. It's not the wireless connections. It's just the connections in general. They suck ass. And there's nothing you can do. Like, I tried adjusting. I tried, you know, nothing worked. Every match was a laggy mess. There were matches I had the entire match won, right in the middle of the combo, completely different move would come out. I didn't even press that button. How the frick did I get that move?
And if this is the average experience, DSP, why aren't other people coming out in droves and explaining this online and telling people how bad Street Fighter 6 really is? Why are you the only person that I'm hearing this from? Not that I go out of my way to hear about Street Fighter 6 problems, but I just feel like it would make some sort of headlines if Street Fighter 6 has just such a blatant issue with the connections getting so much worse at a certain rank. So much so that it's actually just coming out with entirely different moves when you're trying to do something. That seems like something that would be talked about, something that other people would also be addressing, right? But strangely, you're the only person talking about it, so why is that?
Now you lose, because now you dropped your combo, now you're open, jam combo to you, now you're locked in the corner, can't escape, lose. This happened, I'm not kidding, about 90% of the matches last night. Now, why is this a problem? Well, that's disheartening. I worked my ass off to get arguably one of the hardest characters to play in the game to master. So it's like you're climbing the mountain. Imagine if you're climbing the mountain, and you get to the top of the mountain, and there's just a bunch of annoying assholes at the top of the mountain, right? There's nothing fun up there. You didn't achieve anything. You actually worked your ass off to climb just to get to a really disappointing, annoying group of people who you hate.
But how is it climbing a mountain if all you had to do was grind? If anything, it would be less like climbing a mountain and more like running a marathon, or I guess walking a marathon, because you could do it at whatever pace you want. Oh yeah, dude, you really worked your butt off by just playing the game, which is what you said about getting to master rank. You said that you could just grind it out. You said that it wasn't an actual feat of skill and that anybody could get there given enough playing time. Now, I'll acknowledge that you got there faster than if you were to do it like that, but I don't think that that's the point. The point is that it's not an actual feat of skill. I think that any sort of prestige that comes with that rank now is kind of just mitigated by the fact that you can just grind your way there. Also gotta love DSP equating playing a video game and reaching a rank to climbing a mountain. I know it's a turn of phrase or it's a metaphor or whatever sort of expression that it is. I just think it's funny that DSP, the guy who does no physical exercise whatsoever and only leaves his house once a week, is comparing an in-game accomplishment to climbing a mountain.
That's what's there in Master now. I didn't play a single great person at all. I kept playing all low-ranked, low-point people with terrible connections. That's the experience in Master and Street Fighter 6 now. And it's funny because people were like, well, if this is the case, will you keep playing with Dawson? Will you pick someone new? And I'm thinking, why bother? Why bother even playing a new character? If I pick a new character, all it's going to happen, it's the same climb, going through the ranks, getting to Master, and then it's the same bullshit again. Fighting the same laggy assholes who suck, and you can't fight them because the connections are terrible. Right?
I always love when he asks, why play a game if X reason, right? Why would he get another character to master rank if the master rank system is flawed because he gets bad connections once he gets there? Probably to have fun, DSP. Sometimes the journey is better than the destination. If you enjoy playing Street Fighter 6 and the better part of the game is the climb through the ranks rather than actually hitting master rank, then you should probably just get other characters to master rank and continue to do that again and again and again and experience playing as other characters. But DSP is not actually interested in having fun with any video game, even games that he likes. What's more important to him when he plays Street Fighter is to pretend that he's good, to have some sort of artificial rank that makes him feel something. It's not about actually enjoying the game, it's about boosting his own ego. It's about how he can brag online and tell everybody that he was at master rank with all these characters. And it's strange to me that that's not something that he immediately thought to do and is interested in, because he very clearly does not enjoy playing in master. Even before getting Dalsim there, every single time that he played in master ranking, he just didn't have a good time. If he quit caring about rank so much and decided to just play the other characters to get them to master rank, he'd probably have a better time and therefore a better stream. But every single time he loses, he just gets as toxic as possible because, dude, his rank points are whatever, as if they actually mean anything.
Now, the other thing about this is still, if you take a look at master rank, most people are playing on PC. Most of the people are crossplay again. And this is what happened when I played with Blanca and everyone else. We discovered that people who are playing this game at a level where they feel like they're going to compete competitively in some capacity, they all got it on PC, and they're all playing it on PC. Because PC has less input lag, better connections, less dropped inputs.
And here we go again with the PC code. DSP, you have had plenty of opportunities to save your money and get a PC so that you could play every game that you should be playing on a PC and upgrade your setup and do all of the things that you can do with a PC. But you decided not to, and you have no one to blame for that but yourself. It's all on you. You decided not to save for a PC. You decided to not invest in one. So when it finally came time that you were going to benefit from it via Street Fighter 6, you obviously missed out on the opportunity. And this is no hate on console. If you like playing on console, that's cool, that's great. I'm glad that you're enjoying the games the way that you want to enjoy them. But I genuinely think that if you're going to play video games in any sort of serious manner, whatever that means, whether that be streaming or playing competitively or, you know, just taking it a little more serious than casual, right? You would be doing yourself a favor by playing on PC. Not just because that's where serious gamers play, but just because of the customizability, just because of all of the other games that you might be able to play that you didn't have a chance to play before. Because they'd look better, because there's far more choices in peripherals. It's small things like that that all add up to a better experience overall. And DSP should have made that switch a very long time ago, not just for gameplay experience purposes, but for his business, the sake of his business that pays his bills every single week when he has his bills due again.
So because of that, they have a distinct advantage over anyone playing on console. That's not fair, but that's how they designed the game, and that's bullshit. You should, just because it's cross-play doesn't mean that someone should have a distinct advantage on you because they're playing on a different platform. Now you might say, well, then why don't you turn off cross-play? Because now you're making the player pool so much smaller, you're actually playing against people with even more lag.
But I thought that you just said more people in the playing pool was leading to more lag to begin with, but now less players in the player pool are leading to lag? Which one is it, DSP? Make up your mind. It can't be both. And it's so funny to me that people were asking for crossplay for literally years, maybe even decades. The ability to play with all of your friends on every single platform, and you could all just have a good time playing video games. And it's kind of a marvel that we live in an age where you can actually do that. All of the companies decided, you know what, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna be able to do it. DSP can still find a way to make it sound like a bad thing, make it sound like a negative, because he can make anything sound negative. Sure, every once in a while, especially in a competitive style scene, a platform might have a slight advantage over another one. There's no denying that. And while their company can try their best to try and make sure that it's as balanced as possible, they might not get it right. And there's a few things that you can do as the player or as the consumer. You can either just shut up and deal with it and play your best, and if you don't win, you don't win. It is what it is, man. It's just a game. Or you can bite the bullet, and you can move over to an entirely different platform just to get that little edge in the game. If you really want to take it seriously, that is something that you can do. It is in your wheelhouse. It is your prerogative, and it's an opportunity that you have to take yourself. Notice that neither of those two options was get on an hour-long pre-stream and complain about it a whole bunch to your audience. And that's of course assuming what he's saying about PC having an advantage is actually true. And I still really haven't seen any evidence to support that. Some people were telling me about Fight OS, but when I looked into it, there was also a bunch of people saying that it's just kind of not true and that it doesn't work as he is describing it.
So if you thought that was a problem last night, it just extrapolates the problem exponentially and makes it way worse. So there's literally no solution. Once you hit Master Rank in Street Fighter 6 as of now, you literally are wasting your time.
But DSP, as long as you're having fun, there is no time wasted. That's how time works. As long as you're enjoying it, it's cool. But that's the thing with you. You don't actually enjoy playing video games. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot make this any clearer. And you would think that it would help that he's streaming the game as well, so he's having interactions with his audience and he's entertaining them, and that should be something that he enjoys, but he doesn't even enjoy that either. So to all of the people who made it to Master Rank and decided to keep playing for whatever reason, whether it be because you were streaming it or because you really just enjoyed the game, congratulations, you wasted a bunch of your time and you suck and you're a moron. At least that's DSP's perspective.
You can't play good players, you play scrubs with laggy connections. It's not fun, and especially using a character. Maybe if I was using Blanca, it would be a better experience because he's a better character, but trying to play with Dalsim, it's nearly impossible. It's like self-torture. I played for 2.5 hours, and every time I had something going, the game would lag, and that was it. That was it. Dropped input, dropped combo, lag spike, can't control my character. They take advantage, game over. Well, how is that fun?
In that he said that maybe playing with Blanca would have been a better experience because he's a better character, but with Dalsim, it's just not fun. Well, here's an idea then, DSP. Why don't you play with a different character? Why are you restricting yourself to playing with a character that you're not enjoying, that you're not having fun with? That doesn't make any sense to me. Nobody wants to see you have a bad time except for the detractors, and I thought that you didn't make content for them. So why don't you just play characters that you will have fun with? You haven't even tried over half the roster, I believe. You have plenty of characters to choose from. You can go and play any of them. You can go and try any of them for the first time and you might actually have a better time doing it. But no, we're going to continue to pick these bottom tier characters so that DSP can brag that he got them to Master Rank. Congratulations, I guess.
I didn't make your fucking netcode, you know? And it sucks because I would say months ago it wasn't the same. When we originally had hit Master with Blanca back on Xbox, it was a different experience entirely. Remember, immediately I was playing good players. The connections were good. And I was like, oh, this is neat. This is interesting. Now it seems like Master has just become watered down trash. And it's not fun to play anymore. I don't know if Capcom will eventually address this and do something to fix it, or if they're just going to let it ride the way it is. But right now, it is not fun to play that game. Just being honest, I had way more fun with the climb from casual into ranked through the diamond ranks with Dalsim. The moment I hit Master, it was like there's no point to play anymore. There's no fun here at all. I can't control my character. Why am I going to keep playing this, right? And I equated it to this.
Okay, before he tells you what he equates it to, he literally just admitted that he had more fun playing casuals and climbing through the ranks of Diamond than he did when he got to Master rank. So if he enjoys the game so much, and he does enjoy an aspect of it, which is the climb to Master, again, why isn't he just picking other characters that he could get to Master rank? He would have fun doing that, would he not? Would that not follow the logic that he is setting forth? The only reason that he would insist on playing at Master rank even though he's not having fun with it is simply for his ego.
Back in the day, there was no online play. So if you wanted to get good at a fighting game, you'd either have to go to arcades locally and play with your local competition, your friends and other people who you play against. Or, once these games started having console ports, you go over each other's houses, play on Dreamcast, play on PS2, practice offline. So imagine you played and practiced hardcore for 2 months. You got really good. I'm ready. So now you go to the in-person tournament, because there's no online play and no online tournaments. You go to the in-person tournament. Okay, there's your cabinet. You're up and you go to play. Wait a minute, this cabinet barely works. The joystick doesn't work well. The buttons I'm pressing, and they only work half the time. Oh well, just play. So I practiced for 2 months. I traveled out here to be a part of your tournament, and now I have to play on this shitty cabinet? Yes, this is the tournament. Go play. So of course you lose. And then you go home sour, disappointed. Wow, I feel like I just wasted all my time. That used to happen. That happened to me before in real life. And now I'm having that same experience online with Street Fighter 6. That's unacceptable.
But you loved traveling and being a pro fighting game player back in the day, DSP. You absolutely adored it. That's why you spent so much time in your online YouTube career talking about it. But now that Street Fighter 6 is, according to you, giving you an accurate arcade-style experience, you're not having fun with it? I mean, I agree with DSP. That would be shitty. That would suck. But I'm not the one that hyped up playing Street Fighter in the arcades back in the day. That was all DSP. He loved that shit, not me. And I gotta ask, who was he explaining all of that for? Specifically, all of the parts about having to go back to the arcade, and when there was console ports that got introduced, you could go and practice at your friend's house. Who was he explaining that to? I thought his audience was a bunch of adults. A bunch of adults would remember going to the arcade and playing console ports of fighting games. It's almost like he knows that his audience is either severely regarded or literally children. Sometimes both.
This is completely unacceptable. Capcom needs to address this and fix it. It can't just be accept that everyone got to Master and now all the connections are shit and you're endlessly stuck fighting scrubs and there's no fun to it. No. It needs to be addressed. They need to fix the ranking system and reset it and have a way that it's going to be fun again. Because for someone who actually wants to get good at the game and play at a high level, that's the opposite of fun. You're climbing the mountain to get to the top and then you get punched in the nuts when you get there. Gee, thanks. That's really, I wanted to get Jimmy tapped after climbing Mount Everest. I really appreciate that, right?
Of course, it wouldn't be a DSP analogy if it wasn't about being punched in the nuts or some sort of feces was involved.
So, you might say, okay, you definitely might say that it's time to retire Street Fighter 6.
Yes, I would very much say it is time to retire Street Fighter 6. Please, get that shit out of here, DSP. Send it to Ban World. I'm sick of it. I hate it here. I'm done with it.
You might say that. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is time to retire Street Fighter 6. We've played it for 5+ months, correct? I've done a lot. I got 5 characters to master. Wait. 4 characters to master. Blanca, Honda, Lily, Dalcine.
For all my audio style listeners, you know he was counting on his fingers for his audience because they cannot count to 4, obviously.
And I know now, quite honestly, that if I kept playing with any character, I'd probably get them to master too. If I can get Lily and Dalcine to master, right? I can probably get the better characters to master if I played, right? And I focused in on it. And, you know, I feel like that's it. Like, there's the challenge of the game has been beaten, accomplished.
But that's because you set your challenge at just getting characters to master rank and not actually being any good with them or playing at a higher level. For some reason, this artificial ranking that Capcom has just essentially handed out because you can get it via grinding, that was it. That was your stopping point. That's all you cared about. And that bit that he just did there was exactly what I was talking about earlier in this video. He acts as though it's some sort of accomplishment, even though he is constantly saying that anybody can get into master rank if they just grind hard enough, and that it's not actually about skill. But then he says shit like, oh yeah, I could probably get all of these other characters to master rank too, especially if I got these terrible characters there, as though it's some feat of skill or something.
The only way for me to make progress further in this game is to buy a high-end gaming PC, to do the tweaks that I need to do to reduce input lag or whatever, and to make sure that essentially I have the ideal state, and then to try to play online again, and hopefully not have these online issues that I'm having right now. But I don't think I'm that serious. I'm not going to tournaments. I have no plans on becoming a competitive player in this game. I told you all that when I started playing it in June.
He says that he has no plans of being a competitive player, but then wanted to play the entire time at a competitive level. What was the point in that then? Why did you have those salty, rage-filled sessions because you weren't doing good if you didn't actually care at the end of the day, if you weren't actually going to play competitively? Did you just want to have salty, rage-filled sessions? Because that seems like a very strange thing to want. And I know that I said that I want to see SF6 go to the wayside and just go to ban world and never be seen again, but how funny would it be if DSP shelled out the money to get an actual PC? Rebought Street Fighter 6 for a third time, made all of those tweaks to his OS or whatever so that he could optimally play Street Fighter 6, just so that he could continue to say that there's a bunch of lag and dropped inputs because he's bad at the game. I would laugh so hard. What a huge waste of money that would be, and it would be right on brand for DSP, because he loves wasting money and he loves making irrational decisions.
I feel like I've kind of competitively done everything else that I wanted to do with the game besides play with every character. But again, what's the point of playing with new characters when you just get to master and then you get deflated because the game runs like shit at master, right?
Fun, DSP. The point is to have fun. The point is to have fun with your audience and be entertaining. That's what you're supposed to be doing on all of these streams. Anytime that you have to ask what's the point of playing this game, the point is to have fun with your audience. That's it. Again, if you don't actually enjoy playing at master rank, how about just getting all of the characters to master rank? If that's what your audience is into, if that's what you're having fun doing, go crazy. Do the thing. I don't think that that's what your audience wants to see, but I don't actually know because I don't watch your Street Fighter 6 streams anymore and I don't look at your chat during them. But from looking at your chat during the pre-stream and other gameplay streams, they are not asking for more Street Fighter 6 from my knowledge. So I would recommend that you just send it to ban world.
So here's the truth. Here's what I think we should do. And I'm curious to get everyone's opinions on this. This Friday, I want to do Friday Night Fights and I want to try Dalsim one more time at Master. All right? And I want to see if I have a different experience. Could it have just been a bad experience one night where the connections were shitty, and now if I play again on Friday night, will it be better? I at least want to give it another shot. I want to at least have a feeling of maybe some positivity that maybe that was the case, and maybe it'll be better. So Friday night, we're going to do Friday Night Fights with Dalsim one more time. We're going to see what happens. If it ends up being laggy, shitty, and basically just annoying as fuck, and I'm not having a good time anymore, I think it's time to retire Street Fighter 6 for now.
God, I hope that stream goes so bad. I hope he gets his ass whooped nonstop. I hope he never wins a round, and I hope he makes $0 on the stream. I hope that he has sub 100 viewers, and I hope that Cat's at Jim's house getting, you know, if that's what it takes to get Street Fighter 6 out of here, please, Lord, I can't take this shit no more, man.
I'll probably go back to it from time to time to check out the new DLC characters. For example, I'm very interested in how Akuma will play in this game. I really don't give two shits about this Ed character. I don't know who he was in Street Fighter 5. I think it's an idiotic move that they have him as a DLC character. But Akuma, he's a staple. I would absolutely like to play with him again.
Why is it an idiotic move for them to have Ed back? I mean, I don't know who Ed is, but that seems like a very strange response to them having a returning character from Street Fighter 5. Is it just because he's from Street Fighter 5 and you don't know who he is? Your boomer ass is only interested in this character that's been in Street Fighter for literally years and decades at this point? DSP is the walking embodiment of, oh, I don't know who that is, must just be shit then, I never heard of him. Because obviously if you're unfamiliar with something, instead of investigating it and finding out and trying to understand it, you can just call it shit and write it off, dude. There's nothing you could do. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, Cat agrees.
Okay. So we'll go back to it from time to time. Okay. But unless Capcom fixes this issue, I don't see the point of wasting my time with it anymore. It really is just a, by the way, the sun came out, which is why it looks so bright right now. It really does feel like it's a fruitless endeavor where I'm going to work my ass off just to be punched in the nuts. And I don't like being punched in the nuts. I have enough abuse in my life with other shit. I don't need to be abused because Capcom fucked this up and made their ranked system terrible once you get to Master. Okay?
Just the way he says that makes it sound like Cat's hitting him at the snort fort. DSP, blink twice if you're in a domestic abuse style relationship. As much as I don't like the guy, I don't condone that style behavior. What the hell? I know that I told him to just blink twice about the domestic abuse thing, which is not a joke and it's not funny, but he totally just ran off the camera to go close the blinds because his lighting is obviously so important, you know? Literally sprang up out of the seat to sprint across the room and just close the blinds.
Here's the other thing, and this is kind of the silver lining in this cloud, okay? This doesn't mean it's the end of fighting games. There's two awesome things coming up that we can do. Number one, I have a mini PC, and on that mini PC, I can install something called FightCade.
I really don't think that he's going to have a positive experience with that, but we get there when we get there.
That's something you guys asked me to do for ages, and I kept telling you I can't do it on my current PC. My PC can capture and stream, and that's about it. If I tried to run an application on there, it would make everything lag up. But I have a mini PC now, okay? And that mini PC could run FightCade. And FightCade is a retro emulation program that allows you to have online matchmaking and competitive play with fighting games. For example, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Capcom vs. SNK 2, all of the old versus games that I love, like X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, all the games that I played back in the day and absolutely loved playing, and there has not been any good viable versions of these games on console for many, many, many years. I've tried playing them all. Capcom 30th Anniversary Collection, Capcom Fighting Collection, they all suck.
And he still wasted his audience's time by playing them very frequently. He'll tell you now straight up that those games sucked, but when he was playing them, oh man, he was trying to find matches so bad. That's what he really wanted to do, dude. If he thought they were so bad and they weren't accurate ports of the game, then why did he continue to play them as much as he did? Why did he continue to waste his audience's time? I know that the answer is because he doesn't care about his audience's time and he doesn't respect them whatsoever, but still, I have to ask the question because DSP is the only content creator that I know that actively disrespects his fans like this every single day with the games that he chooses to play.
Okay? This essentially is the best way to play them from what people are saying. So, the thing is, I don't know how to set it up. When I first got the mini PC, I installed the application and I ran it and I was like, how the fuck does this work? It's complicated. There's like, you need to find the ROMs somewhere and then you need to install an add-on or something and then you have to configure it and I don't get it. So this is going to be something that you guys will have to work with me to figure out how to do it because I don't really understand it.
You hear that, Dents? You better be clearing up your schedule pretty soon because DSP's going to be hard in the Discord asking people to walk him through this goddamn emulation setup. So you better be available and you better know what you're talking about. And here's a pro tip. Appearing offline does not stop it. So quit talking about things that you know nothing about. Figured I'd get that out the way before DSP had to let you know.
But I feel like this could be something fun that we do, all right, for variety for several weeks. Like we could do Friday Night Fights and maybe like one other stream a week of retro fighting games. And we could mix it up. It could be one day I do Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. One day I play Super Turbo. One day I play something different, right? It'll keep it interesting. Because of the variety of stuff that'll be available, I'll be able to mix it up and play various games. And I think that would be pretty neat, actually. Something different, right? And so we could do that. If really Street Fighter 6 is a bust this Friday, we could start doing that as early as later this week. We could try to figure it out. And I work with you guys. You could help me if anyone has a suggestion of a guide or something that I could use to set it up easily. I would like to try.
Yeah, guys, he would like to try it, but he won't be bothered to look up a guide by himself. He can't be bothered to open up his phone, go to his search engine, and then just try and figure it out himself by typing in the words that he needs to type out, and maybe even watching multiple guides to find, you know, one that's up to date or one that's a little more in depth so that he can get all the settings right. No, he's just going to accept whatever you send his way in hopes that it works, because if it doesn't, oh, he's gonna lambaste your ass in the chat. Don't you worry about it.
Okay, and then, basically, we could do that for like a month because then what's coming out in late July or mid to late January is Tekken 8. Brand new fighting game. It's totally different from Street Fighter.
In the sense that it's a much better fighting game, and if you disagree, hey, that's fine, I guess, but you're wrong.
Okay? Looks great, plays great, but sadly I'm not good at it. All right? I don't want to have you guys get all of these crazy expectations that I'm going to be good at Tekken 8. I don't think I will be. You know, I like Tekken. I used to play it in arcades back in the day, but I never was competitive at it in any serious capacity.
Didn't stop you from winning that mall trophy that you decided to keep around your house to this day. And yes, I'm well aware that it's probably just a fun little keepsake that you can look back on and just be like, yeah, I remember when I did that when I was much, much younger. And that's a cool thing to have, right? But I feel like it's worth mentioning when you talk about like, oh, I used to play Tekken, but not at a serious capacity, not competitively. But you literally won a little tournament at your mall. All you have to do is mention that. Just be like, yeah, I never really played it seriously. I did win a mall thing, but that doesn't even really count. But we've completely just memory that. We don't want to talk about that. We're not interested. Don't bring it up. Because if we bring that up, they might start talking about 4th place at EVO, and you know DSP definitely doesn't want to talk about that right now.
So perhaps with this one, I'll play it and I'll like it and I'll want to get competitive. Or maybe not. You know, either way. But I'm going to be playing Tekken come January, and then maybe then we can decide for ourselves, is this something that I should pursue further after playing through maybe the story and playing online for various characters for a bit? Or is this something that I play for a few weeks and then that's it? And then we decide, you know, what's the future of fighting games on DSP Gaming? Is it FightCade? Do I occasionally go back to Street Fighter 6? What do we want to do, right? We can try to figure that out. So, we'll talk about that. But I think that's what I want to do. This Friday, the last hurrah for Dalsim Street Fighter 6, see how it goes. If it goes well, maybe we keep it up. If not, probably time to retire it for now and then maybe move on to retro stuff for a month until Tekken comes out. Okay?
Okay, DSP, sounds good to me. We're retiring Street Fighter 6. Hopefully we don't play any more fighting games until Tekken 8 comes out, and I can watch you be horrible at Tekken 8 and rage a bunch, just like you did with Tekken 7. But that's going to be the end of today's video. Hopefully all of you enjoyed DSP's classic Street Fighter 6 cope, and hopefully the stream Friday goes terribly for DSP so that Saturday is the last time we have to talk about Street Fighter 6 for a very long time. Of course, big up Snort Hogan for the clip in this one. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you, thank you. Shout out to everybody who watched the video, especially if you made it this far. Y'all are real for that one. And a special shout out to all of my members. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. And speaking of being a member of mine, if you support me over on Coffee, just in case you haven't seen the post, I'm going to tell you here and I'm going to mention it on the stream Saturday. But I do intend on not using Coffee anymore. It'll just be far easier for, I believe, everybody if I just move everything over to YouTube. You guys get additional perks over here with the emotes and the earlier videos and the little badges, and it'll be much better, I promise. So like I said, just in case you didn't see the post, Coffee will no longer exist. I apologize. But hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video. But until then, make sure that you check out other detractor channels and dive deeper into that, Snortex.